WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and you're listening to the Going Solo with Cece Show. I am Cece Shatz, the Doyenne of Relationship Building, and we're going to have a great show tonight. But before we start off, I want to tell you a little bit about what we're doing. Every other week, we do Going Solo with Cece, and then we do Date the Right One. So where we focus in on dating topics and subjects and problems and whatever happens in the dating world, we talk about it then. But we do have a couple great sponsors, and our sponsors tonight are Going Solo Community and Meet the Right One. And I want to thank them very much for sponsoring us, but I also want you to be aware of what they are. The Going Solo Community is a community that takes you through a relationship loss, connects you through that transition that you do into making and inviting this new world of being single into your life, and then expanding that into the horizon of possibly dating and connecting with other like-minded individuals. And then Meet the Right One, it's a community for dating, something totally different, out of this world. You know, it's kind of combining the dating site with a community, really, of people that are just like you, looking to meet someone, but also looking to grow within themselves so they can really have their vibration high so they can bring the right person into their lives. So that's called meettherightone.com. So if you would, please check them out, goingsolocommunity.com and meettherightone.com. And guess what? I am involved with both of those, along with my good friend, Christopher Kit Smith, and we're so happy to be able to bring those to you. So now let's get on with our topic, because tonight we got a lot of stuff going on. We are going to talk about, have you ever heard this famous quote, when people show you who they are, believe them? We don't do that, do we? Oh, no. And our guest tonight, my wonderful, great friend, Barbara Smith, I'm going to bring her forward. Barbara, you have written this wonderful book called I Made Life My Bitch, and it is a truly spectacular book. I have read it myself, and I love it. So welcome to the show tonight.
Thank you, Cece.
We've had a lot of fun. Barbara and I are actually good friends. We live in the same community. We hang out together. We get into mischief together, which we will not share all of our secrets, but we do have a lot of fun. But we also do a lot of talking about some of our dating stuff that we do, right? The people that we meet. And so we thought tonight would be a good topic to talk about when people show you who they are, believe them. So let's ask you, number one, a little bit about your book to share with us, because I'd like people to understand your book and where they can get it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the book is called I Made Life My Bitch. It's available on Amazon in both paperback and on Kindle. So you don't even need to have a Kindle. You can just download the Kindle app and read it on your computer or on your phone. It's basically my own Eat, Pray, Love story, except I had to find a better title than Trapped in an Alcoholic Marriage, Got Cancer, Ran Away to Thailand. So I decided to write the book. It was really a book from my heart. And what people have told me, which I love, is that it's really a page turner. You can't put it down. So it was kind of a personal catharsis for me to write it. And I'm so glad that I did. And now I want to write more, because I had success with it and it was amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, really doing your passion, right? Following your passion, understanding what your passion is and going forward with that. Absolutely. So tonight our topic is when people show you who they are, believe them. And we don't often do that, do we?
We don't, and we should. But I think that sometimes people are very good at kind of putting on their best face, being on good behavior, and just kind of hiding who they truly are, because they want love and they want to kind of get you hooked. And then you get hooked and you're like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into?
Yeah, that's so right. And I think too, I was thinking about this a lot, this whole topic a lot. And, and this happened to me. I mean, believe me, I'm the type of person. We just had a show on tonight that it's Let's Talk Dating with Christine Baumgardner and Barry Selby. And they were talking about, like, when you split up, do you know a relationship is over with? And one thing Barry said, which I thought was very interesting, is that sometimes people, sudden things will happen and bam, they'll break up right away. This one thing happened, they're done. Then you have the individual that has to keep being shown over and over and over again. And then finally they have had enough and they say, that's it. I'm
Yeah,
that person.
I am too.
Yeah. I wonder how many out there are like that. And so then I thought about our topic tonight, and how many times have you been with someone and that they show you over and over and over again who they really are? But you don't, number one, you don't really want to see it. But I think more importantly, we don't really understand what we tolerate. What is truly what we will tolerate? Because I mean, we all have stuff, right, Barbara?
100%. Well, it was so funny. This reminds me of a funny story that I share in the book. I have a very good friend, and she helped me through cancer. Her husband had died of pancreatic cancer, so she kind of knew the whole cancer drill and how to support somebody during that. And so it was after I left him, and we were going out to dinner, having like a little girls' night, really nice time. And I said, God, I just don't know, what was it about this time? We'd been off and on and off and on, and I'd thrown him out and he'd come back. And, I don't know what it was it about this time that made me finally able to leave him. And she goes, really? Cancer. You had cancer. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that was it, wasn't it? I couldn't believe how blind I was to my own situation. And, maybe that's just me, but I don't really think so. I think that a lot of us, we want the relationship, and sometimes we want it too much. And that was really something that I felt, could describe me.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point, is that we do want that relationship. We meet someone and things are starting to go pretty well, and we do want to hang on to that.
Yeah.
We all want to be with somebody. I mean, I
Yeah.
really truly feel most of us do. And maybe the ones that have gotten used to being single, been single for a long time, and they've
Yeah.
got their steady stuff that they do and they're content with it. And also, I hate to say it, their sexual desire has gone way down. And so they don't have a real big need for
Motivation.
that
Yeah.
human contact. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so they're okay with just being by themselves and hanging out and playing golf and doing whatever it is they do. And I'm saying, because I'm a woman and I'm referring to the guys, but they're okay with that, right? Yeah.
Well, I am very surprised at how many women our age are married and not having sex with their spouses, or just don't even care to date. Like, yeah, take it or leave it. Don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. We're both in the travel group, right? We have the Going Solo Travelers, and there's some married people that are joining that because they, their spouses don't want to travel and they just don't want to go by themselves. So they want to connect and be able to travel alone. So yeah, I totally get that. I'm seeing it more and more where especially women are trying to find other women to hang out with because, they're bored with their actual life. And so they want something to connect with.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that women of this age, we're kind of on the upswing, and men are like, oh, I've worked my whole life. I'm ready to just kind of downshift. And I'm not in the downshifting mode. I want to go and explore and have a blast. So any guy that's kind of downshifting is not going to be for me.
Yeah, that's true, because I feel myself that I've re-energized, right?
Yeah.
Your kids are grown now and they're kind of doing their own thing. And now it's your time to be, fancy free, right? Footloose and fancy free. And so, yeah, I'm not ready to be.
No, sit on the couch. No, it's really a rebirth this age for women. So I'm excited to be part of it.
Yeah. That's a great way of putting it, a rebirth, because I do believe that that's what it is. Because what's happening is that we're actually stepping into ourselves now, and we're finding out who we are, what we like. And again, on our topic tonight, which is, when people show who they are, believe them, what we're not going to tolerate in our lives anymore, because we might have put up with it in the past, but we're in this new plane in our life and we're saying, no more.
Not for me. Well, what I've taken to doing with dating, and this doesn't even have anything to do with COVID, it just has to do with not wasting my time. So I meet these guys online and I pre-screen them. We have to do a video call before I'll meet them. And what this does is it protects me because this way I know that they look like the pictures and they're not a scammer. It protects them because they know the same about me, that I am not, somebody who's just put up pictures of somebody who looks like this and is, looks completely different.
Mhm.
But yeah, I screen them, and that way I can kind of get to know them. And if I like them, then we'll go out. And if I don't like them or we don't seem to have any common interests, then I say, I think you're a great guy, but I just am not, feeling like this is a match. I try to be as kind and, you know, thoughtful, treat them the way I would want to be treated myself. But yeah, I mean, it's better to not waste anybody's time or money. Just kind of do this little pre-screening thing. And you can learn so much on a first date. People always self-disclose. It's like they can't help it. And so you get a lot of information if you know how to ask the right questions. So the guy that I was talking to last night, he tells me, he's worked in manufacturing, nice guy, not really feeling him, but he says, I love baseball. Baseball, 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 loves baseball. Wants to help, coach and wants to help underprivileged kids learn baseball. And I'm like, you know what? That is a great thing. But I am not into baseball. And I don't want to go to baseball games and I don't want to talk about baseball. We just have different interests. And so I think first dates are fascinating. They're like a fascinating character study because people will show you who they are. And if you say, oh, I'm going to change this guy, he doesn't really like baseball that much. Yes, he does. He said, I really like baseball. Believe him.
Mhm.
And if you
Yeah.
don't really like baseball or bowling or car shows or, golf, fill in the blank. I like boating. I want to go ride motorcycles. Those are the things that I like. And
Yeah.
so at this age, you're just not going to change a guy and they're not going to change you. And that's
Well,
okay.
and you don't want to,
No,
right? I mean, we really don't. We don't want
a
to
lot of
be.
women do, though. A lot of women think, I'm
Yeah.
going to buy this pair of shoes and it might pinch a little bit, but I'm going to break it in. No, you're not. You're not going to break those shoes in. They're always going to hurt. They're never going to be right.
Well, I think a lot of times they're thinking like, okay, they've met this really good looking guy, right? And all these things are ticking off. It's they're checking off all these boxes that everything is pretty much okay. And then there are some areas that are a little bit, and so they're willing to kind of let's see where it goes. And maybe I'm not, he's not that into that. And they're hoping for a different result. And I don't know if they're really wanting to change the person, but I think they're just really hoping that once they get involved in their lives, they'll look at things differently.
Don't do
And
it.
yeah.
Wait until you find the right pair of shoes.
Hmm.
Wait until you find the ones that are the right color and the right heel height. If you bring home a bad pair of shoes, then you're stuck with them. What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And no matter how much we try to buff out those shoes, they
Nope,
don't change.
it's not going to work. It's not going
No,
to work. Because
absolutely.
think about it from your perspective. You wouldn't want some guy who says, I really love you, but no.
Right.
You want somebody who's going to see you and appreciate you for who you really are, not for what they think you need. You don't want to be on an improvement plan.
Right, right. Yeah, I know I dated a guy one time that had like golf. He was really into golf. And I didn't think he was into golf that much,
He
but
was.
then I found out
He
we're
was.
talking Saturday, Sunday, and then we're talking watching golf on TV and he was a sweetheart. And if he watches the show, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about you, but I'm not meaning to be mean. But he likes to watch all and he kept saying, well, this is a special tournament. And I said, how many tournaments are there? And he says,
How
all
can they all
year
be so
round.
No, I
It's
just,
like, oh,
I just, I listened to this guy last night and he was like so passionate about baseball and he had some kind of a sports thing on the wall behind him in the video. And I'm like, this guy really loves baseball. He's not for me.
yeah. Well, and I look at myself and I think, well, I love what I do and I'm not really ready to give that up yet. And so I'm not, even though that I'm, closer to, retirement age or could be retired, but I'm not going to be because I really love what I do. It keeps me, it keeps me lit. and I want to be, I want to be excited about something. I want to be able to get up and in the morning and have something to do that I feel that I'm making a change and things are happening. It makes me feel good. So
Yeah.
I get it. As far as not wanting to change someone else, because I don't want to necessarily be changed. But okay, so how can we, like, what do we have to do, Barbara? Do we have to kind of make a list of like the things that we want, and then maybe a list of things that we totally don't want?
Well, I think you need to understand your deal breakers. Like what are your I'm going to walk away kinds of things. Like for me, addiction, alcoholism, chronic lying. I mean, those things, it's just that's off the table. Cannot, will not.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to feel like you've got things in common. When I take a look at what I want really kind and I want really smart.
Right.
And you don't even have to have hair. You don't have to be tall. You don't have to be body beautiful. But I want character. If you're a good man and you've got to be a financial peer, because I don't really want to, take care of somebody that way. But I'll cook, I'll do, all kinds of activities. It's like I'm a fun girl, but if you're an addict or an alcoholic, it's game over.
But you're also into health. And so like when you say I'll cook, it's, you want that healthy lifestyle. So that's an important issue. So if you have somebody that's, doesn't have a healthy lifestyle, it might be a little bit difficult for.
No, it's just not going to be compatible. And there's the whole political thing. You don't want to introduce unnecessary stress into your relationship. So, if you're way to the right and I'm to the left, or, we're both in the middle, you just want to feel like you're not going to have friction over something like that. It just should be compatible. And I think that one of the things that I would really recommend when people are first starting out is do not go in with your mouth open and your ears closed. You've got two ears, you got to use them. If somebody says something on a first date, it's the truth. There's something about human nature where we're just hardwired to self-disclose. And when you're first getting to know somebody, you're going to tell them everything.
Yeah, men will tell you, if you listen, men will tell you in the first few minutes that you're with them, they'll tell you. They also, if they really like you, they'll go through the lines, they'll go through like wanting to tell you that they're financially okay. They'll say some of those things. They'll say they know the boxes that need to be
that women need to check. Yeah, exactly.
And so they'll start hitting those boxes. Number one, that's a clue for a woman to know that he's into you, that he starts checking off those boxes. But the other thing, it also makes you want to step back a little bit, and I would advise that to not move so quickly, because a lot of times, and I've had it happen to me, is that right away they want to be exclusive. I mean, immediately they want you off the market. And maybe it's better to step back a little bit from that, to just kind of give yourself some time, to be able to go through. But if you want to be exclusive, if you don't have anything going on and you're saying, oh, what the heck, I might as well.
Like him, you see a future. It's like incompatible. I mean, I know many relationships that have been kind of all in from the very beginning, and they were just compatible, and that was just the way things worked.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just what you're comfortable with doing. But I also feel, Barbara, that you have to be with someone through all the seasons, right? And what I mean by that, I mean by like some of the holidays and some of the strenuous things that you have to go through.
Yes. Under stress, big eye opener. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because it's like, it's easy to be great when everything's going fine, but when the car breaks down on a long trip and you got to figure it out. I mean, there's just so many things, and just seeing how they make decisions, just the judgment. Because I think that for women, you got to have a guy with really good judgment so that you can feel safe as a woman and kind of relax into your feminine energy. If you don't feel safe, or you don't trust that guy, or you don't think he has good judgment, never going to work.
Yeah. I think that's a big key. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, let's talk a little bit more about feeling safe, making sure that a woman feels safe. So, because I think if men are listening to this, they need to get a clear understanding of what that means to a woman.
Yeah.
And so they, if they want to meet the right woman and keep her, they need to know these kind of things. So we're going to take a quick break. I have with me Barbara Smith. She wrote this wonderful book called I Made Life My Bitch. And it's a great book. I read it myself. It's an easy read. You can read it probably on a weekend. And it's very enlightening. It's a fun book, but it also captures your life going through some very difficult situations, but also turning those around. It's like taking, what do they say, when you're given lemons, you make lemonade. And so I think you definitely did that with the book. So it's a super book. It's on Amazon. If anyone wants to buy it, I would urge you to do that. Let's see. We do have a comment. Oh, we have a comment here. Lynn. Hey, Lynn. Thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate you listening. So I hope you'll hang in there, Lynn, with us. We're just going to do a quick break, and then we'll come right back. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about stuff. Maybe Barbara will share some funny stories with us. She's always got some good things that are happening and some eye openers. So hang on. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Welcome back. You guys are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the Going Solo with Cece Show. I am Cece Shatz, a Doyenne of Relationship Building. We have a cool topic tonight and a wonderful guest. Our guest tonight is Barbara Smith. She's the author of I Made Life My Bitch. You can get her book right there on Amazon. Again, I can't stress enough how fun the book is, how enlightening, and really going through, some tough times, and you turn around, Barbara, and really make it very inspirational. So thank you for your book.
Thank you.
It's great having it. Well, we're talking about tonight, Barbara's my good friend, and we hang out here in the Tampa Bay area. So if anybody wants to join us, you're welcome to. But we're talking about when people show you who they are, believe them. And so the first part of the show, we talked about various different things. You mentioned, Barbara, about you like to do the video chat. I wanted to ask you about the video real quick before we get onto the other subject. When you're on the video chat, do they ever ask you to stand up or do anything weird? Are they respectful to you on the video chat?
They are very respectful to me. And I do have a full body picture on my profile, so they know what the rest of my body looks like.
Okay.
So besides, it would be like weird. Like you can't really hold the phone out or, besides, this isn't a fashion show. It's like we're here to get to know each other. The goal of the first call is it's like a first date, but nobody has to pay for coffee or drinks. Right. And we don't waste anybody's time.
Yeah. I think that's great. Like normally we go and meet, and so you're doing it on video. So I think it's an absolute wonderful
Well,
idea.
especially if somebody lives like an hour away. I
Hmm.
don't want to drive an hour and I don't want to have them drive an hour. And I don't even want to, like, I'd just rather see if we would like to have a first date in person. So I think it's a good way of doing it. And
Yeah.
really, it's a very good way to keep yourself safe and make sure that you avoid scammers because there's so many, like, the better looking a guy is online, the more chance that he's a scammer. And so if somebody doesn't want to have a video date, peace out.
Yeah.
Not going to waste my time. Because if you're not willing to get online and have a face to face conversation that's really just like this,
Hmm.
why is that you're not willing to do that?
I should do them on air. Wouldn't it be fun? You know how they have those telephone conversations, that you hear on the radio?
Oh my
Maybe I should do it on, say, that'd be awful to
God.
do.
Don't do that.
And you're being taped. Okay, that's bad. Don't do that, ladies.
Don't do that.
No, but anyhow, gonna get a drink of wine. We go ahead, whatever. But let's talk about trust, because I think that is a key thing for trusting and feeling safe for women
Yeah.
when we're dating someone. And I have broken up with someone because I didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
And that is, to me, is really like an ultimate thing. I mean, when something happens and they make you feel not safe,
Just,
so
or even just uncomfortable.
yeah, I mean, I really do think that that's a man's job, to make a
It is.
woman feel safe.
It
And
is. To protect a woman, to provide, to, just kind of put his arms around you and make you feel like everything's going to be okay. You're safe with me. I'm here for you. I mean, it goes both ways, but the masculine energy is kind of more of a providing, protecting, caretaking energy. And, women like that.
yeah,
Everyone, I like that. And I'm a very independent, strong woman, but I still like that. Why wouldn't I?
and you're still a woman. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I ended up having a guy, he actually unmatched with me, just kind of like ghosted me. We were supposed to go out this coming weekend. And I remember thinking about how I felt about some of the things he said during our video date. And he
Mhm.
told me that he hadn't gotten vaccinated. And to me, that just seems like, it protects me, it protects you, it
Mhm.
protects our community. And I said, why did you choose not to do it? And he said, oh, well, I have some allergies and, I had some concerns. So I talked to my doctor and I said, great. Well, did your doctor tell you that any of the allergies that you have might be affected by the vaccine? And he said, no, he didn't. And I said, so you just decided that you weren't ready to get it based on, well, he's like, oh, nothing really. And I thought, not the kind of judgment I'm looking for.
Mhm.
I want it. I want somebody who's like, I've got my head on straight. I know what I'm doing. I'm here to protect you. I'm here to protect the community and myself. And I make good decisions. And I was just thinking, doesn't sit quite right with me because I'm like triple vaxxed, boosted. I'm a believer in doing what I can to, you know, help the community. And I just thought, I don't even really know what that means about your judgment, but it made me feel uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the point.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, and this is my own personal opinion, and anyone doesn't like it, so so be it. But as far as the vaccine, I got the vaccine because I felt an obligation to my friends and family, and
Yes.
those that I were around, those that I went to the grocery store with, and
Yes.
people that I could be exposing, and so I felt it was my responsibility to get the shot. Then, and I've gotten all my boosters. I got 3 shots, and then I caught COVID
Oh,
myself, and
yeah.
and I was really sick. I was super sick, and I can imagine what it would have been like had I not had my vaccine.
Could have been really bad.
So yeah, it could have been bad, and I was wearing the mask. I was being extra, cautious. I'm very surprised that I even caught it. was very, very surprised, but I was very ill. And so, no, I agree with that. I mean, I don't know if I would go out with anyone if they didn't have the vaccine, because of the way I felt for someone else. I would want them to feel that way for me. They'd
Yeah.
want to get that vaccine to protect me, as I want to make sure I'm protected for them. It's that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
the feeling safe is, I went out with someone that I felt very safe with. His line of profession. Now he's retired, definitely make me feel very, very safe. And then something happened within our relationship that it turned, and I didn't feel safe at all. And I just, and then also the language changed. So it seemed like maybe he detected this or whatever, but the tone in which he spoke to me, and that's something I just won't tolerate. I won't
Oh,
tolerate, that kind of behavior to me at all.
I had an experience like that on a date recently, and I just picked up my keys and left.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
he started to say some things, and I said, you don't really know anything about me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got in the car and left.
Yeah.
There's no reason to really get upset about things. It's like, it's a first date. You're just trying to get to know each other. But yeah, if somebody's being disrespectful or having bad language, there's just kind of no reason for that on a first date if you ever want to have a second one, right?
Yeah, and condescending to you. So you can imagine, if you're dating for not too awful long, and then that starts, and it's just going to progressively get worse
Yeah.
to you,
Well,
because what it is, it's the
exactly
value,
it.
right?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
When you're talking about having people, they're going to self-disclose. They're going to show you who you are. Now, if you do not listen to that, and if you say, oh, it's just a joke, it doesn't mean anything, then shame on you,
Mm-hmm.
because you're being given the information and you're blocking it out. And you do that at your peril, because, men are bigger than us. They're stronger than us. And that can be great if they're going to protect you and take care of you. But, there are plenty of women who are victims of domestic violence every year.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them it really doesn't go well for. So you just have to be careful as a woman that if you're getting those red lights going off, if you're getting the danger signals, you need to listen. If the hair is standing up on the back of your neck, there is a reason, and you need to tune in.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So let's switch it a little bit. What about if they're perfect? And we laugh, but we hope to goodness gracious there is some out there that are perfect.
Yeah, well, perfect for us, not perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect for us. Well, what was that old saying? There's a lid for every pot, right?
Yes.
So yeah. Although they haven't seen underneath my kitchen, my cupboards, especially if you're looking at the Tupperware, the plastic, there's never any.
Everybody's house is like that. Yeah.
So, but yeah, but okay, here's the thing. So sometimes we could be looking in the negative, right? We could be thinking we're trying to pick it apart. And so why are we doing that? Are we doing that because of our own insecurities? Or are we doing it because we deep down see something? Or what do you think?
Well, I had not been, I've been single now for about 6.5 years, but 5.5 of that I was in Thailand, where there are no men except married men and men that nobody wants. And Thai men, of course, which are lovely. But I just think that at our age, once you get a few years under your belt, there's a lot of people with a lot of baggage. And so me finding Mr. Wonderful doesn't sound terribly likely. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can. I want to be positive. I want to think that there are some really great guys out there.
I'm sure there
And
are.
I've met a lot of really great guys. I'm not sure if they're the great guy for me, but I have met some really great guys. But now I have to think to myself, what are my priorities? What are my important things? Because I have to admit, and I'll be straight up, that in my age group, there's a lot of guys that are having sexual problems. And it's not they don't want to be with you. They just can't. And in their mind, they think they can. And then when it comes time, they can't. And then you're like, oh Lord, you're like, how can I deal
What
with
have I
this?
got myself into? Exactly.
Right. And then you're thinking, do I want this for the rest of my life? How many more years do I have?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I don't want to believe that there's a lot of women out there that don't want to have that kind of connection. I want to think that there are a lot more women that do want that, and there's a lot more men that want that. And so, what do we do?
Well, I think that men are still all, 25 or 35 in their heads, but then their bodies don't necessarily cooperate with that. Um, I don't know. I always assumed that if men were dating, that they would be okay in that area. Not necessarily true, which was a big surprise to me because the last time I was single, I was in my early 40s, and now I'm 59. So
Mhm.
go figure.
Yeah. And so then we have to think about, what are our priorities? What are we looking for? What can we, live without? You know, um, to me, it's the passion and the connection and all of that. It's not sexual intercourse. That's the big thing. It's all of the other stuff that goes with that makes a difference to me. Not that I hate to think I would never have that again.
That was a very sad day. Come on.
But there's other things.
All
I
this
mean,
going to waste. Come on.
well, buy a book, put a book out.
I've got another book. I've got at least one more or two more books in me.
Your
So
next book. Your
we'll
next
have to.
book. How to have contentment at age 60.
Oh my gosh. I mean, contentment is an interesting word. It's interesting that you bring that word up because,
Mhm.
like I said, I think that a lot of men are kind of going like this, and women are just like rocket ships at this age because we're done raising the children. We don't have to worry about getting pregnant anymore. It's like, and careers and just excitement and meeting other people, traveling. It's a great time of life for women. And
Mhm.
I see that there's a lot of guys who want to get together, but I don't know. I mean, either you've got the sexual dysfunction problem, but then also a lot of them are just really, really broken emotionally. They've been really hurt, and it's just broken their hearts, and they just can't like seem to recover from that.
Yeah.
Do you see that a
Yeah.
lot?
It's having that that feeling, that compassion for someone else. And that's what I dislike the most, is that when you can hurt somebody, or by your words or your actions, and men are all about action, so about your actions, and not think twice about it. That's what that worries me, is that they can have that, and when that happens, usually there's something, and it's not necessarily even them personally. It could be medication, it could be something like that that's happening, that's creating that kind of outcome. And so I don't know, there's a lot going on. So I mean, I don't want to get women to not have hope that they can have great relationships. But what I am starting to see is that I think we as women, especially in the latter quarters of our lives, we have to really surround ourselves with good people,
100%.
good friends. That
I have, this isn't something where, I'm kind of sorting the men out. I've had relationships with women too, where I've had to just release them with love because there are structural problems either with alcohol or behaviors where they're controlling or critical. And that's not good for me. I want to live a happy, positive, upward trajectory in my life and, travel and enjoy myself and be surrounded with really good people. And so if there are people that I feel are just not healthy in and of themselves, they've just got problems that really have nothing to do with me, but it kind of bleeds over into the relationship. I just try to be graceful and let those people go with grace and not have a big giant knockdown drag out, accusing anybody of doing anything. It's just like maybe they're not for me, or maybe they just need some time, or maybe I just need some space. So
Yeah.
it's better. But I think that with relationships, whether it's with girlfriends or with a love interest, you always have so much hope when you start something new and you get the butterflies and you think this is going to be so great. And I see the guys do it too. Oh, this woman's going to be wonderful. We're going to be together. And it's like you create a story in your head that really has nothing to do with the person you're meeting.
Yeah. That makes sense. One thing I took away what you said, it kind of stuck in my mind is that, we all have hope for that kind of relationship, whether it be with a friend or with a love interest. We all have that, and we don't want to think that we can't have that. I mean, it's really important for us to know that there are other like-minded individuals out there that we can connect with. And I think that's the key in forming any kind of relationship, whether it be with a friendship or with a love interest. We have to be similar in our core values. We have to be like-minded in order to be able to continue on, because if not, there's always some sort of something that happens. I mean, I have a lot of friends that we have that connection, and even if I don't have even if I meet a guy or past relationships with men, they still are my friends. I still have friends with them, so I know deep down I can't be like this rooted horrible person, or that wouldn't happen, but I also maybe I have my standards up a little high, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't think that's a bad thing either. I think that's a really necessary thing. I had a boyfriend for a couple of months that I know you've met. He was lovely, but it turned out that we really didn't have the same values. And this was something where, I'd heard him make a few comments that seemed a little bit off color, and then one day it all came out. It was like all the good behavior that he'd been trying so hard to hang on to was just like out the window. And I was like, oh, I see you now. You were wonderful, but you were on good behavior. This was all kind of artificial. And then, the true colors were shown. And it was like, oh, yeah, we don't have the same values. We don't belong together.
Yeah.
Thank you for a wonderful 2 months, but I got to go.
Yeah. And that's setting your boundaries, isn't it? I think we all have to do that. Both men and women, we all have to set our boundaries as to what we want, what we're going to put up with, and what we're going to make a concession for, because not everything is perfect. And have the conversation with someone if something happens and we're not happy with it. I know you had the conversation with him, and it didn't turn around. No. And as I had recently a conversation with someone, and it didn't phase. And so therefore,
that's what they are. It's like you can be on good behavior for a period of time, but eventually people are going to show you. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I wanted to say is people will show you. I had heard him make some jokes. I had heard him make some comments that just sounded, not right. But you can't, especially when you're in the beginning of a relationship, you can't go, well, what did that mean? What did that mean? What did you mean by that? Because then you're just a shrew and it's horrible. So you just have to kind of go along and get along a little bit in the beginning of the relationship and let people reveal themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm afraid we're going to have to close. It's gone by very quickly. So let's share with the audience. Do you have any last words you'd like to share with them?
I think that this is a really, really great quote, and it's a really true quote. But to get the benefit of having people show you who they are and believe them, you really, really have to listen. And I think that we all have our love goggles on when we first go on a first date, like, it's going to be so wonderful. He's all these things. No, he's not. Let him talk, really, really listen, and let him reveal himself naturally in the conversation. But you've really got to listen, because if you've still got, he's so perfect, he's Mr. Wonderful, in your mind, you're not going to hear the cues. And then you're going to end up 6 months down the road going, oh my gosh, how did I get myself into this situation?
Yeah. So take off those rose-colored glasses, right?
Take off the love goggles, girls.
I know. Sometimes it's not so easy. Absolutely.
No, I know.
Because we all want that, don't we? We all want that romance and feel loved. We all want to feel loved. So yeah, it makes it a little hard. Well, great advice here from Barbara Smith. Barbara Smith wrote the book, I Made Life My Bitch. I Made Life My Bitch. You can get it right on Amazon. Very easy to find. easy read, interesting book about her life, and really some journey, a path that you were on, and that you had to set your boundaries. You've experienced cancer yourself, moving through that, and going to Thailand, living a life over there, and just
Amazing.
a lot of wonderful doors open for you, and you were willing to brave enough to walk through them. So
It was a big adventure.
yeah, kudos to you for that. And we are so lucky to have you here in Tampa Bay and become friends with you and hang out and do a lot of fun stuff. So
Super thankful too, Cece. Thank you.
yeah. Yeah, it's very nice. Well, if you guys want to hear more of our adventures, you want to stick around and be with Barbara and I, will be happy to share it with you. But of course, our topic tonight was when people show you who they are, believe them. And please do set your boundaries as what's good for you, and really make your list of what you're really looking for, what you're not going to tolerate, and then move through that and be very open. Like Barbara said, really listen, because they will tell you. And then you can make an informed decision of what you want to do going forward. So again, thank you, Barbara. I appreciate it very much being on the show. You guys, you were on Going Solo with Cece on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are a radio, TV, and a podcast station. We're the #1 internet singles talk network. We have our own radio station, which is a live streaming station. So we hope you guys will listen to that. If you want to send me an email, I love to hear from you. It's goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. If you want to send Barbara an email, you can. Do you want to share your email with everyone?
I'd rather have them buy my book.
Yeah, buy her book and make a comment here, and email me if you want to get a hold of her. Our website, of course, for the media is goingsolonetwork.com, and everything I do, if you want to follow me, join me in the websites, just go to goingsolonetwork.com, and it's got everything on there. We want to thank again our sponsors, goingsolomedia.com and meettherightone.com, and check out those sites and see what you think. Let me know, and I'll join you on those sites, because those are sites that I am active in. Barbara, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Again, her book is I Made Life My Bitch. Go to Amazon, buy it now before it sells out, because it will. It's a great book, and love you guys. I'll catch you back here next time.
Thank you.
Bye
Cece.
for now.
All right. Bye-bye.